A sign of burgeoning population south of Tucson emerged recently with the opening of a new urgent care center in Sahuarita, and they will begin seeing patients in the next 2 weeks. Joining us now to talk about how the community is facing new challenges is Sahuarita Mayor Lynn Skelton. Welcome, it's great to have you here.
Thank you, Kimberly. It's nice to be here.
Well, comment a little bit. I mean, this is a big deal, that clinic opening.
Absolutely, and we're so excited about it. You know, it's just a much needed service in our community. Sahuarita, yes, but we have our adjacent community, Green Valley. And being mostly retired, you can see where the benefits are going to come in with not only the retirement community, but the families. You know, urgent care, families, goes hand in hand.
Yeah, and they're always busy on the weekends. That's when you need urgent care, so that's a great deal. But you've also joined with Imagine Greater Tucson, I see, in trying to develop a vision of where your community wants to go. That's a big question.
It's a big question, but
talk a little bit about what you hope to inspire among residents there.
I hope that they understand that it's important for them to participate. You know, let their voice be heard, let their values, what brought them to Southern Arizona, what brought them to Sahuarita, what will it take to keep them there, what are their values? That's what Imagine Greater Tucson is all about. Let's identify our values and let's move forward in creating this vision so that we are proactive and we can retain, you know, the generation that's coming, that's growing, and you know, we want our kids to stay here. We want grandchildren. We want to be able to provide quality schools and jobs so that they're here and they can be prosperous.
And we'll talk about those issues. But you have been part of the Sahuarita Town City Council since 2000, did you say?
Since 2000.
2000. And you are mayor, which you informed me is not an elected position, it's more of a rotating position that is shared by that council. But my question is, what made you do that in the first place? Why did you feel like it was incumbent on you to take public office?
I wanted to make a difference. I know you hear that a lot from public servants. So why are you running for election? I want to make a difference. But it was some self-serving interests as well, to grow in my leadership skills, to going back to Imagine Greater Tucson, even though in 2000 no one ever, wasn't even thought of at that time, but I also felt a need that we have a vision for this area. What can I do to contribute, share that vision, and see that it's implemented? So that was to make the difference. So it wasn't just the words, to make a difference, but I had the vision of what it was that I wanted to make a difference in. Manage the growth, understand the concerns of a growing community and how can you best put them to positive outcomes.
So, and what's your strategy for doing that? Because you mentioned a couple of things, like the growth is significant. Mm-hmm. The growth and the resources and the housing and the education. But how have you seen that change in your tenure there?
Oh, it's interesting because 5 years ago, growth, how do we manage this growth? What do we do? It's too much. We can't keep up with it. But now in today's economy, taking a deep breath, we can celebrate that our town is growing. Not many people can say that because we are continuously, it's slowed down obviously, but we at least can celebrate in the fact that we have grown in rooftops and we are growing in commercial development now and planning. But that's the answer to the question. It's all about planning and knowing what it is you're after, having that greater vision and knowing that it's not just people, it's people bringing prosperity to your community.
We're focusing a lot these days, particularly because the legislature will go into session in January, which will impact a lot of us. I see that look of stress on your face. Yeah. But one of the reports that we saw recently was about the Continental School District and the challenges they face and education in general, specifically around the state where we're seeing overrides failing and people not wanting to support this other than the sales tax. But how is that educational system integrally tied to your growth initiatives? And what are you hoping for in that sense?
It is significant. I mean, if you can offer quality schools for the families that are moving there, we have Homeland Security, we have Raytheon employees, we have military. We have a very diverse workforce in our community, but if you can't offer quality schools for their children, they don't want to live in your community. I think with Continental is served by a portion of Sahuarita. Then there's the Sahuarita Unified School District, which is much larger. But they all both offer excellence in education. You can't beat that. It's just a matter of educating voters so that they know what it is they're voting in favor of when it comes to overrides and bond issues. Because history has shown that in the past they've supported bond issues but not overrides. So I think let's educate the voters so that they understand what that override is about.
Yes, and you will help me do that. You will help us do that. But also the end result, of course, when we educate our kids, we want them to have good jobs. And I keep coming back to this issue of jobs because our economy won't recover until people have money to spend and get a paycheck. So what are you doing in terms of economic development and trying to attract jobs, employers, and people to populate that area?
It's about quality of life. If we can offer quality of life issues and maintain and continue to create a vibrant community, then the people will come. And once you have the workforce, the possible industries will come. Research industries, you have to also identify. So I think what we're doing is we're identifying what the workforce is and what would be best suited for our community. Obviously there's the biosciences going on in Oro Valley. I don't think we can compete with what they have in the works, but we can complement or supplement that if we have the workforce. But it's a matter of identifying, what that workforce is and what will work in our community, and that's what we're doing as a town, and working with TRIO, is finding that and working with property owners. It's important to identify the areas that can support job wealth and potential job sites. It's not just what we already have, but it's thinking beyond what we have. We're talking to the state with the state trust land east of town. We've got Farmers Investment, the Green Valley Pecan people that are looking at planning for their future developments. So we now are at the table with them, and they understand what it is that we need as a community to offer and create potential property landowners that will have property set aside for jobs.
You also wear another hat as the chair of the Regional Transportation Association, and in that regard, I just wanted to ask you that how do you see that connectivity extending to more rural areas? We see that there's needs in certainly the metropolitan area, but certainly with the focus on conserving energy resources and the pattern of development, that this transportation system will be critical. So what's your vision, Lynn, about how to guide that process to increase people's access to transportation?
Yeah, you're right. It's all about the mobility. How do we efficiently plan and create the mobilities that will benefit the entire region, and by benefiting the entire region, each community, each jurisdiction, and each agency benefits from that. The Regional Transportation Authority is a plan, so those plans are in place. As myself and future leaders of RTA come together, I think it's a matter of, okay, now we are successful in the original RTA plan. How do we build upon those successes so that we are planning the regional transportation mobility issues that fit the needs of Southern Arizona?
Well, I look forward to seeing those plans forthcoming, and I know that you will be moving out of that chair, but I expect to see you back here, and I thank you so much for coming.
Well, thank you, Kimberly. It's been a pleasure.